Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mr. Eldridge. Today, we're going to tackle one of my favorite Supreme Court cases of all time in Gideon versus Wainwright. The case of Gideon versus Wainwright began in 1961 when Clarence Earl Gideon was arrested in Florida for breaking and entering into a pool hall. Too poor to afford an attorney, Gideon requested that the state court appoint one for him. The court refused, citing Florida law and the landmark Supreme Court case in Betts versus Brady, which only provided free counsel in capital cases. Gideon was forced to represent himself at trial, where he was convicted and sentenced to prison. From prison, Gideon filed a handwritten petition to the Supreme Court, arguing that his Sixth Amendment right to counsel had been violated. The legal question before the court was whether the Sixth Amendment's guarantee of the right to counsel applied to defendants in state courts who could not afford an attorney. The court had to decide if the state was obligated under the Constitution, under the Sixth Amendment, to provide legal counsel for indigent defendants in criminal trials. So legally, the principle here is definitely surrounding the Sixth Amendment as well as the 14th Amendment. The Sixth Amendment specifically guarantees the right to a fair and speedy public trial, including the right to the assistance of counsel. The 14th Amendment, we're dealing with the Due Process Clause as its key to ensure to respect fundamental rights guaranteed in the Bill of Rights. The court was dealing with this previous Supreme Court case from 1942, the Betts versus Brady that I discussed earlier. This allowed states to deny counsel in non-capital cases, and whether this law should specifically be overturned. So we're dealing with three things here: Sixth Amendment, 14th Amendment and Due Process Clause, and whether we should overturn Betts versus Brady. So the court looked at all of the relevant laws, looked at the principles in establishing what we know today as our public defender system. The court ruled unanimously in favor of Gideon. Writing for the court, Justice Hugo Black declared that the right to counsel is fundamental and essential to a fair trial. Therefore, defendants must be able to have an attorney even if they cannot afford an attorney. The decision overturned Betts versus Brady and requires states now to be able to give to indigent defendants, anybody, public defenders in criminal cases, dramatically expanding protection for the rights of the accused and reinforcing the idea of equal justice under the law. Hey, thank you so much for paying attention to this video. If you like this content, be sure to share this with your friends. Hit that like button. I appreciate it. Have a great day.